Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Have you ever thought about what would happen if the world hung in the balance? Like it all came down to one person and one impossible choice.
Yeah, it's like in those classic thriller movies, the kind that really get your heart racing.
Well, that's exactly the kind of high-stakes scenario Lee Child throws at us in his book titled Redacted.
Definitely a thriller.
If you haven't already read it, you can find a link in the episode description. And hey, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into these kinds of stories. So, this book, titled Redacted, it drops us right into the life of Professor Nathan Tyler.
Ah, Professor Tyler.
He's a mathematician. Not exactly the kind of guy you'd picture saving the world, right?
No, not your typical action hero.
But that's what makes this story so gripping.
It really makes you think, could someone like me, an everyday person, ever be in a situation like that?
Absolutely. So Tyler, he's at a math conference in Moscow when he gets this call, out of nowhere, from the White House.
Oh man, can you imagine? Talk about a sudden change of plans.
Next thing you know, he's on a private jet,
Private jet, huh?
meeting the president.
Wow.
The whole shebang.
Sounds intense.
It gets even more intense when they lay out the problem. See, the Russians, they've got this top-secret algorithm protecting their nuclear arsenal. And guess who designed it? This reclusive genius, Arkady Suslov.
Suslov.
Yeah, and here's where things get interesting. Suslov, he's not just some evil mastermind twirling his mustache.
No.
He's actually disillusioned with the Russian government, thinks their nukes are a threat to humanity.
So he's like a good guy, bad guy kind of thing.
Right, you never really know where he stands.
It's interesting.
Now, buckle up, because this is where the math kicks in.
Yeah.
Suslov, he's obsessed with these things called Kindansky numbers.
Kindansky numbers, what are those?
They're prime numbers, but with these very specific, unique properties.
Okay.
Suslov believes they're the secret to unbreakable codes.
So like the ultimate password.
Exactly. And guess what? The password to disarm the entire Russian nuclear system. It's one of these Kindansky numbers.
No way. That's wild.
So now you've got Tyler, this mild-mannered math professor, suddenly thrust into this insane situation. He's got to figure out Suslov's thinking, crack this code, and potentially prevent, a global meltdown.
You're a responsibility.
Right. The stakes couldn't be higher.
Mm-hmm.
But just when you think they're making headway, there's a twist.
The twist.
That algorithm they were working on,
Yeah.
turns out it was a decoy.
A decoy.
A trap. The real algorithm, it's hidden deeper, protected by an even more complicated Kindansky number. Talk about a curveball, right?
What happens next?
Well, they realized the only way to get to the real code is to get to Suslov himself.
Suslov.
And where is this mathematical mastermind hiding out?
Where?
A remote Russian labor camp.
Oh, wow.
Korovki, it's called.
Korovki. Okay.
And here's the kicker. They have to come up with a plan to get Tyler into the camp.
Into the labor.
They actually orchestrate this whole fake accident to get him arrested and sent there.
You're kidding. They actually did that.
They were desperate, man. The fate of the world was literally on the line.
Wow. Talk about going undercover. So what's it like inside this labor camp? What happens to Tyler?
Well, that's a story for part 2 of our deep dive.
Okay, I can't wait to hear what happens next.
Stay tuned. So Tyler, he finds himself in this labor camp. Korovki. It's bleak, desolate. It's a world away from his life as a professor.
I can't even imagine. From a math conference to a labor camp, that's quite a jump.
Yeah, talk about culture shock. But it's interesting.
What's that?
Even in this harsh environment, Tyler starts to adapt. He realizes that everyone in Korovki, they've all got their own story, their own reason for being there.
So it's like a hidden world within the world.
Exactly. And he's not alone. He actually befriends another prisoner, Jan de Vries.
De Vries?
Yeah, he's Dutch. Mathematician, too.
Another math whiz. Makes sense they'd connect.
Yeah. And de Vries, he becomes Tyler's kind of guide to navigating this whole crazy situation. Shows him the ropes, introduces him to the routines, helps him blend in.
So it's like he found a mentor in this unlikely place.
Exactly. And through de Vries, Tyler eventually connects with Suslov.
Whoa, so they actually meet
Yeah.
inside the labor camp.
Yeah. They set up this sort of secret mathematicians club as a cover.
Clever.
But there's a lot more going on beneath the surface. Suslov, he doesn't just hand over the information. He's testing Tyler, watching him, trying to gauge his character.
Like he needs to be sure Tyler's worthy of this knowledge.
Exactly. It's almost like a game of chess, with the fate of the world hanging in the balance.
So it's not just about cracking codes, it's about understanding people, their motivations.
Absolutely. And you get the sense that Suslov sees a bit of himself in Tyler.
How so?
Well, they both have this passion for math, this deep understanding of its power.
True. And maybe a shared disillusionment with how that power can be abused.
Right. And Tyler, to his credit, he steps up.
In what way?
He doesn't just demand the information. He actually engages Suslov in these really deep conversations about math, about its beauty, its implications.
So he's appealing to Suslov on an intellectual level, not just trying to manipulate him.
Yeah, he's earning his trust.
Yeah.
And it works. Suslov starts to open up.
About his motivations.
Yeah. And we learn that he's not just trying to protect Russia. He wants to make sure this knowledge he created, this power, doesn't fall into the wrong hands.
So he's carrying a huge burden.
A massive burden. And he needs to be sure he's passing it on to the right person.
Someone who understands the gravity of it all.
Exactly. But even with this newfound trust, there's still the problem of the 9-digit Kindansky number, the password.
Does Suslov give it to him?
He doesn't. He's too worried about Tyler's safety.
What do you mean?
He's seen how governments operate. They use people, and then they discard them.
Wow. So it's a trust issue, but on both sides.
Yeah. And the tension keeps mounting because the U.S. government, they're breathing down Tyler's neck, demanding results.
So what does he do? How does he get the code?
Well, Suslov, he comes up with this incredibly clever and totally unexpected solution.
I'm on the edge of my seat here. What is it?
You know how Suslov loves music?
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier.
So while he's working in the camp, he starts whistling this tune.
Whistling.
It sounds simple, almost childlike.
Okay.
But within that tune, Tyler, he starts to recognize a pattern, a mathematical pattern,
No way.
a pattern that corresponds to the properties of a Kindansky number.
So Suslov hid the code within the music. That's brilliant.
It is. It's a testament to Suslov's genius. But Tyler's work isn't over. Now he has to decipher the tune, translate it into that 9-digit code.
Which is no easy feat.
Especially with the pressure of the labor camp and the U.S. government closing in.
What a cliffhanger. So Tyler's got the key, but he still has to unlock the door.
And we'll find out if he succeeds in part 3 of our deep dive. Tyler, he cracks it. He figures out the tune, deciphers the code. He's got that 9-digit Kindansky number.
So he did it.
Yeah. He's got the key to potentially disarm the entire Russian nuclear arsenal. Can you imagine the weight of that knowledge?
It's almost too much to comprehend.
And just like that, he's whisked out of the labor camp, back to the U.S.
No more Kurovki.
Nope. He finds himself in the Oval Office, face-to-face with the president, all these high-ranking officials staring at him.
Talk about pressure.
You can cut the tension with a knife. Everyone's expecting him to just hand over the code. End of story.
The solution they've been waiting for?
But Tyler,
Yeah.
he does something completely unexpected.
He doesn't give them the code.
He doesn't.
Why not? What does he do?
He tells them about Suslov, about his motivations, his fear. He talks about the danger of this knowledge falling into the wrong hands.
So he's not just defying orders, he's making a statement.
Exactly. He's risking everything. His freedom, maybe even his life.
Because he believes in something bigger.
It makes you think, who's the real hero here? Tyler for getting the code, or Suslov for creating it and trusting Tyler with it.
That's a tough one.
And the story ends right there, with Tyler walking away, leaving everyone in the Oval Office speechless, and the fate of the world still hanging in the balance.
Wow. Just wow. What a powerful ending. It really leaves you with more questions than answers.
It makes you think about power, about responsibility, about the consequences of knowledge. It's a story that sticks with you long after you finish the last page.
Absolutely.
So what do you think? What moment from Title Redacted resonated with you the most? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives like this one. Thanks for joining us.